It's Friday, February 13th, 2026, and this Valentine's Day weekend is shaping up to be quite eventful. Areas in the Dixie Alley are about to be facing severe weather, including threats of tornadoes, strong winds, and even hail. Meanwhile, from California to New York, many regions are experiencing significant snowfall. In Sacramento, California and surrounding areas, up to 4 feet of snow could accumulate in just the next 4 to 6 days. So in today's forecast, I will break down everything that you need to know about these two major storms, where they will impact, and what you need to know to prepare. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And I want to go ahead and begin with our composite reflectivity, as this is how we can sort of view all of these storm systems on the map, sort of on like a radar-ish type. And this is what things are looking like right now. Currently, we have some rain showers in areas like Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. And sort of as we move on later on into the day, these will just continue to move more towards the northeast. And once they get to the Oklahoma area, they'll produce a little bit of like light thunderstorms, but nothing too crazy. Once they sort of get into the Arkansas, Louisiana area is when they will start to form into sort of a line of storms. And currently today we have a marginal risk. It's sort of covering all of Texas for just light thunderstorms and rain showers. No tornado risk today. I believe there is a little bit of a wind threat in this system, but overall the Storm Prediction Center hasn't issued any hail threats or tornado threats as the time I am watching this, sort of posting this, filming this, I guess you could say. There is absolutely no hail or wind threat issued as of now. And this will begin to move through parts of Monroe, Louisiana, and Pine Bluff, Little Rock, Arkansas area, through Memphis, Tennessee, as it gets on to probably about 12 a.m. on Sunday in Central Standard Time. And then it gets to about 3 a.m. This is what things will be looking like. And then obviously 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, so this is what it's pretty much looking like all Valentine's Day weekend, and this will actually produce a pretty significant line of storms, which as of now, tomorrow, we actually have a tornado threat issued for Louisiana. Parts of even Houston, Texas could be involved in this, as well as areas like Tupelo and Jackson, Mississippi, as far south as Dothan and Mobile, Alabama, even into parts of Pembroke, Georgia. There could be a isolated threat for tornadoes, especially in the more southeast areas of Georgia. And then this will begin to move off the coast as we move on into Monday. And if we go ahead and take a look at our total snowfall rates, actually, this is what things are going to be looking like right now. And as we move on later on into the afternoon hours, some more snow will accumulate in areas like Colorado and Utah. If you are a skier out there, or a snowboarder, you will be able to have some more snow on your little mountain thing. I don't know what they call that, ski mountain, I guess. But then the snow will begin to creep south to California, where in California this snow system will sort of increase in its strength. And this is actually going to be a pretty big threat for Sacramento, California and its surrounding areas. And this is like something that we don't normally see very often in California. And so it doesn't really start to fire up until Monday, but that is when it will really start to pop off. It starts sort of later Sunday night into Monday, and look at all the snow that it starts to fire up. This is a significant amount of snow if you have ever looked at the maps, and just continuing to move on, it just gets brighter and brighter in that orangish color. This is never what you want to see, because this is sort of at the max of the scale bar, and the scale bar is like, it overestimates things. And since we're seeing this is something that we literally see all the way like up in the Pacific Northwest into Alaska, and this is actually occurring in Sacramento, California. So this is obviously a pretty big shock to all of the weather people out there in the world, and we don't really know why, but it's obviously pretty crazy that this could actually occur. And this is only a few days out, to be honest with you. And if I go ahead and turn on my cursor readouts, you can see here 52 inches of snow, 60 inches, 83 inches of snow in one area over here, 76 inches, 63 inches, 68 inches, 73, 61, 76. Yeah, and 96 inches of snowfall is possible out of this system. So, obviously, if you are involved in this, make sure to stay indoors. Be prepared to be snowed in for lots of days, as well as the threat to sort of have just like downed power lines and all of that stuff, I guess you could say, as we move on into the next few days. And in order for this system to sort of pan out, there has to be a low pressure system sort of like flying through all the high pressure systems. And this is exactly what we are seeing right now. Now, if you look down here just south of Arizona and California in sort of the Mexico area, this will begin to move. This right here, the bluer, is the low pressure system, while the orange is just like the more of the high pressure systems, obviously. And this begins to move through Texas, pushing this high pressure system up and going like back behind it. So this is sort of just driving through all of the high pressure systems, sort of just fueling the storm system. And it will begin to move through areas like Columbus, Mississippi, into parts of Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, Alabama, as we move on into Sunday night, even into Monday morning, obviously like Monday morning hours, as you can see right now. And then it will begin to move off of the Tallahassee, Florida area, Jacksonville, Florida area, in the Georgia area as we move on into Monday. And here is actually a major low pressure system that will be moving on into the northwest, sort of fueling this whole storm system, snow system. And this will be causing a significant flooding threat for much of over here, sort of like in the next few days. So that will definitely be a considerable thing to keep an eye on. And I will continue to post whenever you need to be updated. Another thing that is possible for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is when these storm systems really start to fire up. Saturday night into Sunday is sort of the weekend hours. I will do live coverage for this severe storms whenever it starts producing tornadoes, anything really like that. And once we move on into tomorrow will be a sort of more in-depth video, as sort of we will be able to see the tornado outlook for Sunday. As of today, we can only sort of see it for today and tomorrow. No tornado outlook for Sunday yet. But once we move on into tomorrow, that is when we can sort of view the tornado outlook that the Storm Prediction Center is issuing. And that is when we can sort of see how big the tornado threat will be for this day. I think it'll probably be about a 10% risk out of 50, I believe. So it's still going to be a pretty considerable damage threat and a pretty significant tornado outbreak if this continues to strengthen. And yeah, so this storm system is, like I said, going to be pretty crazy. But now I want to go ahead and take a look at our moisture, as the moisture is driving the storm. And since moisture sort of drives the storm, like I said, I want to go ahead and take a look at the moisture model here. And as you can see right now, we actually have some moisture in Texas and Oklahoma, which is probably why the Storm Prediction Center issued a marginal risk for down in the Texas areas around Houston, and two areas like Monroe, Louisiana today. And this moisture sort of starts to pick up and have like sort of more moisture, I guess you could say, and will just fuel the storm system. And moisture, like I said, is obviously the one thing that you don't want in storms, and this is exactly what we're having here. So once you have the moisture start to get into the storms, it just sort of intensifies the strength for tornadoes and damageable threats, I guess you could say. And as we move on into Saturday, this is just tracking along with the storm. This is like exactly what we saw on the composite reflectivity map. It is just the moisture map, obviously. And it is just following the exact path and tracks of these severe storms. And this is obviously something that we don't see very often, especially in like February, the very early February hours, but not hours, very, very, very early February days and weeks even. And I just want to go ahead and say that this tornado threat will be pretty significant at the end of February, and this tornado season will be above average, honestly, I believe, with what I have seen over the past few days. But obviously, tornado season is still like a few months out, so it is hard to accurately predict where, when, and why these will occur. Just the way things are sort of lining up is just sort of surprising me and scaring me for this tornado season. But I just want to go ahead and say this is what things are looking like as we move on into Monday, and all the moisture will be strengthening this storm. And with the tornado systems, I guess you could say, you want to have a lot of CAPE involved. And CAPE, like if you want it to be more severe, like if you're obviously like a storm chaser or something, and you get paid to be able to chase whenever there's actual tornadoes and stuff. So yeah, surface-based CAPE, we currently have a little bit in the Texas area, but this really starts to fire up with the storm system. And surface-based CAPE, I'm going to go ahead and explain for those of you who don't know. It is sort of what drives the storm system and keeps the tornadoes. You can't really have a tornado without CAPE, but if you do, it is very unlikely. CAPE is actually an abbreviation for something, and CAPE, actually, C stands for convective, A stands for convective available potential energy. So it's CAPE, convective available potential energy. And that is the energy that sort of makes the tornadoes, obviously. But there's a lot more ingredients to that, involving warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, or the Gulf of America now, I guess you could say, and cold, dry air coming down from Canada. And once they sort of clash, it's a warmer air mass clashing with the colder air mass, they begin to form into a low pressure system. And the low pressure system sort of does its thing from there. And all the moisture just depends on how everything lines up. And obviously, once we get into the spring times is when everything starts to fire up, the tornado season, due to all of the warmer, moisture air from the Gulf of Mexico. And yeah, here's this CAPE, and we don't have a lot of CAPE, to be honest with you, as of Sunday morning hours. But the CAPE really is significant in like Houston, Texas, and all of those sort of areas in Texas. And Texas is obviously a main tornado threat, as this will move through Louisiana and Mississippi a lot later on into the day. But Texas is obviously a main tornado threat, like I said, because there's a lot more like farming lands and sort of like not as many houses, I guess you could say. But it's still a major threat because some people live on their farmlands. And so this will impact obviously a lot of people over the next few days, which is obviously never a good thing. But this is going to be a significant tornado threat, honestly, for Texas. And even parts of, like, Mobile through Dothan, Alabama, and Georgia does not have as much as a tornado threat. But there will still be a significant chance for tornadoes in all of the areas that we have sort of covered today, except for the snowfall totals. However, that was all we had to talk about today. I will be posting videos whenever y'all need to be updated. Actually, matter of fact, I have a new podcast channel. No podcasts out yet. But if you would like to go subscribe to the channel, you can click to it right here. And yeah, it is called the U.S. Weather Podcast. That's sort of my announcement for this video. But I will be going live during this severe weather event to do live coverage to help keep you safe, get out the other warnings from that Storm Prediction Center. Overall, thanks for tuning in. I hope this helped y'all today, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.